Most founders hire wrong. They wait too long, they hire desperately, and they hire cheap. They hire for tasks instead of outcomes. They hire people who need direction when they should be hiring people who give direction. And then they sit there frustrated, wondering why the team isn't carrying the weight, wondering why scaling still feels impossible, wondering why they're still the one in every single meeting, fixing every problem, doing the work they hired someone else to do for them. Here's what I've learned after building a business to $15 million and hiring across more roles than I can count. The team you're building determines the business you run. But there's a layer underneath that almost nobody talks about. The hires that work at 100K a month are the wrong hires at 30K a month. Most team building content online is written for businesses way bigger than yours. So when you try to apply those strategies, you hire someone you can't fully use yet, and you burn money, time, and confidence in the process. If you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, or service provider between 20 and 100K a month, and your team isn't producing the results, the speed, or the ownership you expected, this video is going to break down exactly why. So here's a roadmap that will expect you in this video. Number one, I will tell you why most founders accidentally hire B players, what an A player actually is, and why most founders get this wrong. Number three, the right hire at the right stage, 20K, 50K, or 100K a month, for example. Number four, how to attract A players even when you can't outpay the corporate world. Number five, the complete interview process that filters out B players. And number six, how to build an environment A players don't leave. Let's start with part number one. Why do most founders accidentally hire B players? And the pattern here is really clear. At 20K to 100K a month, the founder usually is overwhelmed, is drowning in work, and finally decides to hire. And then they usually just hire too fast. They hire for relief, like no real process, no defined outcome, no pressured tests they test people really with. And they end up with someone who can execute tasks but can't think independently or own outcomes. And then 6 months later, that constant guidance is still needed with those team players. Like the ball gets dropped without supervision, founders concludes hiring doesn't work for me, and this is the trap they always keep running in. It's a lot of work, they hire fast, they don't recruit well, and then they think hiring is just not for me or something. And this seems pretty clear when you say it like this. That is a wrong conclusion, because hiring works. Hiring the wrong type of person doesn't work, because you will end up in that trap again. So you have to understand the core difference between a B player is a person who just executes tasks, and if you stop giving them work, also the work stops. And an A player, they own outcomes. So if you disappear for 2 weeks, for example, you go on a vacation or you're just locked in with your works, the outcome still gets produced. So a team of B players just multiplies your output, but not your freedom. You are still doing all the thinking, all the work. You are in every single meeting with them. And a team of A players replaces your output and your personal time. So outcomes happen even or without you. That is the most important and crucial things. And most founders have never really hired an A player. So they think the constant management is just what running a business really is. And the answer is it's not. It's what running a B player team is. So that's the biggest difference, number one. What is an A player now, truly? And most founders use the phrase A player without ever defining it. Let me give you the actual definition. An A player, in my opinion, has 4 traits, not 3, but they have all 4 of them in common. The number one is they focus on outcomes, not tasks. And it's the most important trait out of all of the four. So if you hand them a result, not a task list, they get conversion from 12 to 25% in 90 days, and they take it from here. You just tell them, hey, that's the problem I want to solve, do it. And they will just do it. Okay, so they diagnose, they plan, they execute, they measure, they iterate, and you just manage the outcome and not really their work. So if you're telling someone what they do every single day, and you need to tell them constantly and remind them all the time, they are not really an A player. He might be talented and hardworking, but not the level you're truly looking for. Second trait, they bring solutions, not just problems to you. So a B player comes to you with, hey, we have a problem, what should we do? An A player comes to you with, here's the problem, here's what I did, here's what I'm considering next. Do you maybe have any ideas or feedback for that? But they come with a true solution. So A players, they resolve problems at the level they appear. B players send every problem to your desk, and then you're in the same trap again. Trait number 3, they raise the standard around them. Like A players make the people around them better. They really motivate them, accelerate the speed in your company, not because they're trying to, but because their standard pulls the team up. And B players meet the existing standard at the best, and they rarely lift in. Like when you hire them, like the performance of your team is not like doubling, tripling or something. It barely stays the same. So the signal you hired an A player, something you should be really looking out for, is within 60 days, the team is operating sharper, faster, and clearer. If you don't really see that, it's more of a sign like you hired another B player. And number 4 of the traits which all A players, in my opinion, should have is they operate with internal drive. So A players, they don't need motivation. Like they don't need pep talks all the time or Monday morning inspiration. Hey, go get it, and send them an emoji like this is your week or something. Of course, it's nice for them to hear, but they don't really need it. Like the drive from them is internal. It's also like they want to become better as a person, not just work for you. Like they have goals for themselves too. So they are driven by pride in their craft, like ambition, and the satisfaction of solving hard problems is something which truly, truly fulfills them. It has nothing to do with you. It comes from them internally. And also like micromanaging is usually the fastest way to lose them. They don't want to speak about small details all the time. Of course, if it's something important, you need to talk about, but they want to focus on the big picture, like the big things which are really moving the needle. So they signed up for ownership, not just management with you all the time. And you are looking for A players who have all 4 traits, not 3. 3 out of 4, for example, is maybe a really strong B player and is super useful, but they doesn't change your business. So don't make a prioritize, look for all 4 traits. Number 3, the right hire at the right stages. And the most expensive mistake founders make is reading about some 8-figure org charts and trying to hire that structure at like a 30K a month business, which doesn't make any sense. So they hire like operator, COO, like a director of operations, and like 6 months later in, paying a 70K month salary for someone with nothing to operate, which it just doesn't make any sense. It maybe looks cool and you can tell your friends, yeah, I have a CEO or something, but it doesn't make any sense. So the right hire for your business, for a business like twice their size, is something you just hired the right person, but just at the wrong time. Like you weren't in that stage yet. Okay, so you need to look at the real order of hiring runs by revenue stages. So now here is stage one, and this is like 20 to 50K a month. And here you really need to focus on hiring executors because at this stage, you don't have a coordination problem. You have a capacity problem. Like you are the operator, you are the salesperson, marketer, and delivery person. But there's nothing really to manage yet. Okay, so you don't need a manager yet. What you truly need in this situation are people like team members who take on the lowest leverage work of your plate. So you can focus on the highest leverage work, like a high quality assistant, for example, who helps you like scheduling, inboxes, CRM system, admin stuff, maybe client communication, a delivery support person, which maybe can take on onboarding, project management, and the parts of fulfillment that don't require a lot of expert level. Okay. And a great executor at this stage probably gives you back 10 to 20 hours a week. And that should be the goal at the stage you are right now. And so it becomes pretty clear, like hiring a manager here at this level, it's super overkill. Like a senior salary for someone with nothing to operate, it just doesn't make any sense. So at this stage, hire executors who give you your time back. That should be your number one priority. Then we come to stage number 2. And here you have like 50 to 100K a month. And here you need to focus on hiring specialists because now you have maybe 1 or 2 executors already. And now you're not drowning in admin work anymore, but you are drowning in functioning ownership. Like you're still doing all of the thinking and every major function in your company, like sales, marketing, delivery. And that's the new bottleneck. Like a specialist now, he owns or she one of the major functions of their business and runs it without you doing all of the thinking. So they do it for you. So the 3 most common specialists usually at that place, which you can hire, is either like a sales specialist, like a closer. It can be like a coach or like a fulfillment person, or it can be like a marketing or content lead, like social media manager or a media buyer, for example. And hire whichever function is most keeping you trapped, where it's the most time consuming, which of course the most help would be the biggest advantage for you in your business. And if sales is eating your week, for example, hire a sales like a closer. If delivery is eating a week, hire a delivery lead. And the same, of course, with your marketing manager. So a great specialist at this stage replaces years, and I mean years of you doing that function yourself, because they truly are good at what they are doing. And at this stage, like, hire specialists who really own that function. Don't look for a person who doesn't want ownership, who doesn't want real responsibility. So not just execution, but real ownership in that division. And then there's the stage 3. And this is like 100K plus a month. And here you want to look for managers. So at this point, you've probably got like 3 to 6 people already on your team, maybe even something like 10. Like you have assistant, delivery lead, you have a closer, maybe a content person, and your business becomes pretty real at this point. So you've become the bottleneck again. And now it is your time of coordination, of like quality control, and that you are making sure all the time that the right things are happening in the right order. And that is super, super time consuming and also something exhausting where you shouldn't be focusing on all the time, because maybe you have a gift or a real talent which could scale the company way faster. So the manager at this stage should be really taking over, like weekly team rhythm, like tracking outcomes across all the teams, like quality control, hiring, onboarding, and really the systems that hold the business together. Like this person should really look for it. Like, for example, it can be a sales manager which does all the work for you, and in your brain you're like, about sales, the whole department, of course it's the number one priority in your business, but you don't need to track everything because he or she does the work for you. And a good manager at this stage is one of the most valuable hires in the whole business that you can do, because they let you truly step out of the managing role and get you into that leading role. So, but if you hire a manager before there is really a team to coordinate, then you're just wasting a great hire, because they get really bored. They leave and they end up doing just execution work. And then it's, first of all, like I said, either you lose them, second of all, they can be not really motivated, or you just pay them really big money, which is not necessary. So you have to make sure you have the team for this, okay? And look for a true manager who runs the team you have already built. And the principle behind all of this is hire to solve the bottleneck that actually exists, not the one you read about online or see a cool video or something. So if you're at 30K a month, your bottleneck is capacity. So just hire executors. If you're at 50K a month, your bottleneck is like function ownership. So hire specialists. If it's 100K plus a month, 200, 300, 500K a month, your bottleneck is coordination, and you need to hire a manager. And match the hire to the stage. And every new hire will compound. I will promise you that. If you mismatch them and you waste months of money and momentum, and it will actually just hit you a plateau, you will lose money, and you always have this feeling of, oh, hiring doesn't work. Hiring is not really for me, or it doesn't work in my niche. It works, you just have done it wrong. Number 4, how do you attract now A players and don't have the fear of, oh no, the corporate world maybe is outpaying me, I don't even have a chance of them. And the objection that most founders raise when it comes to this is, of course, that they just can't pay what the bigger companies are paying. Like if you look at a manager and you look at, I don't know, Meta, Google, whatever, and they pay 20K a month, and you think like, I don't know, if I can only pay them 7 grand, 8K, why should they really be working for me? And from my experience, money is not really the main motivator why people come to you. Like sometimes it's true, but often not. But either way, you have to understand that money is rarely the factor why people like A players are coming to you. And this is what they really want besides the salary. They want true ownership of a real outcome. Like A players are bored just by pure execution. Like they want to own a function, like a real result, a piece of the business, and they really want to take it as their own. So real ownership beats a long list of tasks like every single time. And most employers, like competing for them, they don't offer that. So if you really think of, they want real ownership, they want not just to be executors, but they actually want to own the department and be responsible for it, and you can give it to them, that's a huge plus. The second thing is they want a leader they really respect. And A players will take less money to work with a leader they respect more. And that's a pattern I've watched dozens of times, because they want to learn, they want to grow, and they want to be around a leader who think they can truly trust, like a real leader with a vision. And those leaders, they can also hire above their pay grade because of those advantages. On the other hand, like a chaotic React, the founder, they really can't hire A players because even if they double their salary, people don't want to go there. Like, because, like I said, they are respecting the leader, not just the salary. And A players feel a very bad operating environment very, very quickly. Like when you onboard them, and in the onboarding already, it feels like it's chaotic. You don't really have systems in place. You don't really have set up processes they can follow. They don't really like that. So the next thing they are looking for is a clear standard of excellence. And what do I mean by that? A players thrive where the bar is already really high. So if you are an uprising company and you think like, we have this goal, we want to be number one in the world, we have been doing things no one else has been doing, that's something they really thrive in. They don't like loose businesses, like fuzzy outcomes, good enough delivery. If they hear stuff like this, they usually just leave immediately if they're a good one. So the bar isn't about pressure, it's about clarity. They want to know what great looks like and how it is measured in your company. Because if they have clear KPIs and a clear path you've set up for them, they really, really like to follow this. The next one is a real growth path, which is a little bit synced to the point before, because real A players think about where they are going in the future. They are thinking for the long run, not just for their today's role, like how they can grow, how their salary can grow, how their impact can grow. And you have to really articulate where the business is heading in the future and how their role evolves with the time. Like, this is a super, super big magnet A players are looking for. They don't need the perfect setup in the beginning, but they want to see where it's going and that you have the clear plan for it. The next one is fair compensation. And you don't have to overpay, but you also have to pay fairly. A players take 10-20% a discount in a work where they really like it, where they respect the leader and they have the right environment. But they will not take like a 50% discount or something. But trying to hire A players at just junior wages isn't a strategy, because you will just keep recycling B players and attract those people. Number 5, let's now come to the complete interview process that actually filters A players from B players. And where most founders lose the game, like, here's what they usually do. They have like maybe a 45-minute chat, then they have maybe like, oh, it was a good vibe, then they check 2-3 references, and then they make an offer. That's it. And that's not really a good hiring process. That's like going on a wedding with a person without dating. So it's very, very risky. So here's what an actual filtering process looks like. And we internally have 5 steps for this. The first one is the application itself. So you make them work for it, like real questions, specific responses you are looking for, examples of past outcomes, like really challenge them, like ask them, what was a problem which was really hard you solved, for example, okay? And then at the next step, we also ask them to send us a video in the beginning. So you see their energy, you see if they are confident, you see if they also execute the task. And they need to talk about what they actually did, okay? And what was the result? Not just, okay, here's what would you do or something. So ask them specific details. If you're hiring a sales rep, and don't just ask them, okay, what is something a good sales rep does or something, like ask them, what was your closing rate? What was your show up rate? How many calls were booked? How much revenue did, like, go into real detail, okay? And here at this phase, you will probably lose 80-90% of the applicants already. But that's good, because they weren't serious anyways in the first place. Then in step number 2, you have a real conversation. And This is the first interview. This shouldn't be about now, okay, tell me about yourself. This should be way more structured, like specific, focus on real situations they have handled before, like real outcomes they've produced, real failures they've recovered from. So here you're really looking for evidence, not just enthusiasm, like because every person learned their whole life how they can sell themselves in a call like this. If they wouldn't be doing a good job on that, I mean, it's pretty bad already. But you want to look for real nitty gritty details and really see if they are a good fit or not. So challenge them. Step 3 is like a practical task you can give them. And this is what most founders skip, and they shouldn't, because give them a real piece of work and close to what they would actually do in your business. Like, for example, if it's a graphic designer, give them a task. They should design something. If you don't like it, you probably won't like the style of the person. If it looks super beginner level, there's too much work you need to put into bring this person to a level. So how they approach the task tells you way more than 5 more interviews will ever do. Because do they also ask good questions? Like think clearly, like deliver the standard, which truly you have set the standard through. So this is really, really important that you understand that this single step filters out most of the B players. How is the work truly of the person? Not what are they talking about all the time? Like show me your work and I want to test you on the spot. And there you see who passes to the next step. And then what we like to do is a little bit of a reverse interview. So in the final round, you let them interview you. And what they ask truly reveals their level of how confident they are, how committed they are, how good they are in the field. Because A players, usually they ask about ownership, decision authority, like how the team really operates, which CRM systems you use. Like they ask really specific questions, what the standard also is in your company, like how much money you make, how much people you have, what's your closing rate, show up rate. They ask real numbers. And B players, they usually first ask about how many hours, holidays, benefits, and it's both fine, but it tells you what they really prioritize. And you are looking for A players. You're not looking for people who just, oh, I'm just looking for a 9-to-5 job and cool, and then I leave and my vacation is more important than anything else in the world. No, you're looking for different types of people. And then in step number 5, you do a reference checks that really matters. So don't ask the references, okay, what was it like working with him? Because that gets you nothing. Like they'll always say, yeah, he was a nice person and it was cool. Like ask, what did they own? And did they own it well? Like if they were a media buyer, like did they produce good results? Like what was the ROI on them? Like what ROAS did they have? Like ask very, very specific. And also like where did they fall short and how did they handle it? Like were they good on taking feedback from you? Would you hire them again? And also for this specific role. So the real hiring process, it takes 2 to 3 weeks sometimes, but that's way shorter than 6 months of managing a wrong hire or 12 months rebuilding after firing one. And that is where most founders make the biggest and costly mistakes. They are rehiring the same people. They fall short on the same people, and they just overpay because they never are looking for real A players. Part number 6, how do you build an environment now where A players really thrive and they are not leaving your company? And hiring an A player is only half of the work. Keeping them is the other one, because you can't just look for the good stuff and then you're not really giving them a good playbook or a playing field where they can operate well. Okay, so A players, they leave bad environments faster than B players. That's the bad thing, If you're looking for A players and they don't like it, they will leave because they have a lot to offer, because they have options and they feel when something is off in your company and when their own standard, for example, is higher, like you can't keep up with them. So hire A players. If you hire A players into Chaos, they give you probably 90 days and then they will leave because they really have the feeling of this is not a place where I'm thriving. This is not a future where I see myself growing. So here's 5 things you want to look for A players, like an environment you want to create. So the first one is clear standards, like clear communication. Like A players, they need to know what great looks like, and they need to be, it needs to be the same standard for them today, next month, next year. So truly set the standard for them. Also, inconsistent standards burn them out faster than anything else. If you communicate something, but then you're not really delivering on it, it's really bad for them. Then they also need decision-making authority at their level. So if they have to ask for permission all the time on like super small things, they don't feel comfortable, and also you didn't really hire an A player, because then either you didn't give them enough room where they could have the authority, or they asking you on every single decision, and then they are not really doing their job well. And real authority, clear boundaries, room to operate, and inside those boundaries without you being in the room all the time, this is the perfect place you want to be. The next thing they need is real feedback, like in both ways, you to them and them to you, because A players, they truly want feedback. Like they are thriving for it. They're also not taking this personally or something. They want to learn and grow. So they want to know what's working with you, what is good, what is not, and how they can fix it. And they want feedback from you as a true leader that really, really matters. So if they tell you something that needs to change and they don't really change it, or you stop telling them at some point and they don't grow, they don't get any feedback or something, they will also probably leave. So build weekly, monthly, quarterly feedback rhythms, real conversations, and focus on performance. You don't need to sugarcoat them all the time, because A players, they want to grow. Like this is what they are made for. So you have to prioritize this. And the next one is a leader who is growing. So not only them, but also you. And this is really, really important, because like I said, the environment for them is they want to be in a place where not only they are a light for other people, but they also want to have the feeling of, oh, I'm thriving in this situation, this environment here. So you need to be a leader who is almost a role model for them. And 8 players don't want to outgrow the founder. So if you're not growing yourself, they will outpace you. That's a very bad place to be. So, but this is something you should be thriving for excellence anyways. But I see a lot of founders, they don't really grow and accept everyone else in the teams to grow. That's not a good place. So your growth is part of their retention. And it's a very uncomfortable truth most founders don't think about. So if you don't want to be working, if you don't want to scale your company to 7, 8, 9 figures, whatever, but you just expect your team to do all the work, they will feel that and they don't really want to be part of that. The next point is that your compensation should really reflect the contribution of them. If they work really hard, you need to show it to them. Otherwise, they don't really have a pattern of working harder, because they don't get like compensated for it. So if you have outsized outcomes, like they go far and beyond for you, they also deserve outsized compensation. And that's also something which a lot of founders, they don't see, they don't value, and they don't do it. And then A players are not feeling valued. They feel they deserve more. So you need to give them salary plus bonuses, like maybe sometimes even a profit share or ownership in some cases. What I like to do is salaries and bonuses. Like me personally, I don't like to give ownership of the company way, for example. I never did it. But what I like to do is give them a bonus tied to their specific field. So if I have a media buyer who makes XYZ per month, and I tell them, you also get 5% on all the ads, all the revenue which was created, which came through you. Like that's a huge, huge bonus people can make. And sometimes the bonus, if done well, is even double of their own salary. Okay, so for example, if they generate 500K in extra revenue and just get a 5K bonus or something, and then you have really trained them that producing more doesn't really matter, and they will leave. Because 5K of 500K is just 1%. Like they deserve more. Show it to them. And it is really, really important that when you build a team, they want to produce more. They really are thriving in a way of, we want to grow, we want to be the best in the market. We also want to make more money ourselves, and you teach them this behavior by giving them more upfront, like what they really, really deserve. Don't underpay A players. And now here is the real belief shift, because most founders think their team problem is a team problem, but usually it is a hiring problem. It's the wrong type of person at the wrong stage, and then they produce, of course, the wrong outcome. So when that's in place, all those points, the team carries the business, and you stop being the true bottleneck, because work moves without you being in it or not. That is the ultimate goal, that your business is growing even when not you are doing all the work. So scaling stops feeling like adding more weight to your own back. You just feel like, hey, it's more fun, it's enjoyable, and you also just have more freedom. So that's the version of a business most founders never truly built and never also truly experience, because they never built the team correctly in the first place. Here are 3 questions you should be asking yourself. Of the people on my team right now, how many of them are owning outcomes? And how many are just executing tasks? Because if most are executing tasks, I'm running a more expensive version of myself. But you want people who elevate your business, grow the business even without you. The second question is, am I hiring for the stage I'm actually in, or the stage I think I should be in? And 35K a month trying to hire a COO might be solving the wrong problem. Not just might be, like it's 100% the wrong hire, which I showcased you in this video. The next question is, would an A player actually want to work for me right now? And this one can be really uncomfortable, to be honest, because you have to be honest with yourself. Like, are my standards high enough? Do I have clarity on where the business is going? Are my decisions well spoken? Like, is my growth a path people really want to join? And would they choose me? Like, ask yourself, would they choose me? And that's a really uncomfortable question, but sit with it. To close this video off, if I had to compress everything I've learned about building A-player teams into one sentence, it's hire the right person for the bottleneck you're actually having right now, and not the one you read about online. Because at your stage, that means executors before specialists, specialists before managers, and real ownership over more management. And the right person at the right time, this is something you need to think about all the single time. Don't look at videos and think, oh, this sounds so cool, if that is not you, if that's not your business. And most founders, they never do this. They hire reactively over the stage, manage tightly, and wonder why scaling feels impossible. And the ones who break through stop hiring helpers and start hiring owners. or the bottlenecks right in front of them, like real A players. They build the environments those owners want to operate inside, and the business starts running on its own. That's what separates founders who hit the next level of the ones who just stay stuck on a treadmill for years. If you're a coach, consultant, agency owner, or a service provider between 20 and 100K a month, and your team isn't carrying the weight, it isn't producing without you. It isn't operating at a standard you actually need. That's exactly the work my team does with founders just like you, because we help you identify the real bottlenecks at your stage, design the right team structures depending on sales, marketing, coaching, and for where you are right now, not where you will be in 2 years, because we have worked with thousands of companies just like you, and we need exactly what you need right now. So we build the hiring process that actually filters A players and install the leadership rhythms that keep them performing and staying with real metrics, real KPIs, how you really perform and make a lot of profit. If that's the next move for you, the link below is a place to start. Book a call and we'll walk you through the version of an A player team, how that truly would look like for you and in your company. Also, drop a comment what stage you are in right now and who's the next hire you are thinking about making, like an executor, specialist, or a manager. I read all of the comments and I wish you the best of day. Cheers with the implementation, Yasha.